friends. It's Camille Richmond, co-founder and CEO of Hamama, here with a very special guest, Janell Pekkain, and we're here together to announce the launch of our brand new product set, extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar. And this is not just a regular salad dressing combo here. This is a really special set for you. We're so excited to be announcing this. And it's the perfect way to eat more microgreens. Seriously, I have this in my kitchen all the time now. I had a delicious salad for lunch with my kale, my olive oil and vinegar. Thank you, Janell, for working on this with us and making this dream come true. Janell is the founder of All of This, All of That, and an olive oil expert. Thanks for being here, Janell. Can you tell us a little about yourself and your store, All of This, All of That?
I'd be happy to. And thank you for having me. And it's so much fun to do this with you guys. If I may, start off with, we met 5 years ago when you guys just started your business, and we had a launch in my shop. And I reached out to you because I loved the idea of microgreens with my olive oil and vinegars. And here we are fast forwarding, and you've got all these wonderful customers out there who can also benefit from using our olive oil and vinegar. So I got kind of like chills talking about that.
Long history, and I'm just so thankful for you. And actually, Hamama friends in the San Francisco area, you may remember Janell from our San Francisco meetup at her shop where we did a tasting and pairing with microgreens. So long history here, excited to be keeping it going.
That's right. So I do have this shop, All of This, All of That, in Noe Valley in San Francisco. And I opened it 9 years ago. I can't believe it's been nearly a decade. And just prior to that, began my sort of long journey with olive oil. What I often call it, started off as an infatuation, and it soon became a deep love affair. As cliche as that sounds, it really is true. But really what happened is I had an aha moment with extra virgin olive oil. And I had it on simple greens, to be honest. And we had some cheese, and we had a little pinch of sea salt. And boom, it was a sort of a mind-blowing experience. And that was the beginning of what is extra virgin olive oil all about? And why does it make your food taste so much better? And then I took a deeper dive in with the California Olive Oil Council. I wanted to work with local farmers, support our local agriculture, and also for transparency to understand where my product is coming from. And also for sustainability reasons, I wanted to work with local farmers. So my involvement with the California Olive Oil Council led me to an apprenticeship on their sensory panel to become an olive oil sommelier. And then I became basically an olive oil sommelier, a sensory panel member with the council about 7 years ago. My gosh, time is going by quickly. And what we do on the panel is we actually, as a group, do blind tastings to evaluate olive oils for that top quality extra virgin status. So that's what I love doing. And that's what the core of my shop is about, is to help customers and hopefully your Hamama peeps be able to understand what they're choosing and using and how to enjoy it. There's a lot of choices out there, and it can be overwhelming, and we don't always know what to look for. So yes, that's what I'm all about.
Amazing. So impressive. And I love the shop. If you're in San Francisco, you gotta go. So in that vein, all of these flavors and varieties to choose from, what made you select these particular ones? We have a California extra virgin olive oil, and we have a barrel-aged balsamic vinegar for you. What made you choose these? Can you describe the flavor in your expert vocabulary?
So I did choose the two most popular products, oils and vinegars, in my shop, because I thought that your customers would also really enjoy them too. And like you mentioned, the extra virgin olive oil is from California. All of my olive oils are from California. And this one is from Yolo County. It is a family farm that's been there for a few generations. They are an organic farm. This particular variety is called an Arbequina, which is a very common, pretty ubiquitous variety in California, originally from Spain. However, this particular one has got a little bit more of the fruitiness, the bitterness, and the pungency, the intensity of these aspects that we look for in olive oil than some other Arbequinas. So I love this one. And when I am describing it with as fruitiness, it means you're going to get a really great aroma of a little bit of grass. You might get a little bit of green notes.
I've had that before.
Okay, awesome. Bitterness is always inherent in an olive oil. A lot of people don't expect that. And if you've ever tried to eat an olive off the tree, you'll know that it's very, very bitter and you really can't eat it. So when we turn olives into olive oil, we're going to get some level of bitterness. And you experience that on the tongue as a flavor. And then this pungency or the spiciness, sometimes it's identified as pepperiness, is actually a really reaction to the health benefits that are in the olive oil. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But this is what we're looking for. It's a really fresh. This is a key part of having quality extra virgin olive oil. And you're going to get some fruitiness, some bitterness, and pungency, nicely balanced. And putting this on top of salads, as you mentioned, avocado, anything, chocolate, actually, you're going to really enhance and the flavor of those foods with this quality olive oil. Now, the vinegar is a fermented product. And it is an acid. So you have your fat and your acid working together to really sort of modify foods and create beautiful balance and amplify flavor. So think of olive oil as a fresh fruit juice that's going to have some nice green grassy notes and some spice. Think of the balsamic vinegars as an aged fermented product. This one is a blend of balsamic from Italy as well as the balsamics from California. They've been aged in the Solera barrel method, so it's thicker, sweeter, and it is grape based.
It's so syrupy. It's delicious.
So it's been reduced. So the sugars are a little intensified, and this yes, it's thicker, sweeter. So it's not the really tart, tangy vinegars that maybe you might come across in a lot of the grocery stores. This one is really a beautiful, mature, rich, viscous, sweet olive vinegar that goes really well with the olive oil. And again, 2 simple ingredients, maybe a pinch of sea salt on these greens, and you have like an incredible meal.
Yes. And that is the key here. And where Janell and I and all of that and Hamama really connect is like simple, healthy, fresh, delicious ingredients to eat healthier, eat more deliciously, all of the above. So thank you for that explanation on your choice here. Can't wait for you all to try this. So can you explain a little more on the process here? What do people need to know about extra virgin versus regular olive oil? Can you go back to that process? You have the olives from California. How does it become olive oil?
Yep. So think of grapes to wine, olives to olive oil. So there's a process involved there. And the things that are really important, you got to start with quality fruit, right? So quality fruit, the time that you harvest, you pick your olives is really important. And then the part where it starts to differ in the process is harvesting from the tree, right? You've got your olives, needs to get to the mill where we create the oil within the same day, within hours, actually. Ideally within 12 hours, definitely not more than 24 for quality. And then you need to have a good miller who knows what they're doing, have a clean mill, and then you create the oil all that very, very same day. So that's where it differs from wine. And this is where the fresh fruit juice concept comes from. We are creating olive oil from olives from grapefruit that day. And the other difference between the wine and the olive oil is that, and vinegar, is that their aging process does not make olive oil better. If you come away with one thought, it's that fresh is best, right? And then the way we determine extra and virgin in olive oil is that extra virgin olive oil is the top quality. It's only olives, so nothing else has been added. And the process has been done with a mechanical mill monitoring temperature. So no heat, no solvents. Right? And then after it becomes oil, it goes through 2 exams, through tests, through analyses. One is a lab test, and there are standards that are set that are international standards. And then there is a sensory test, and this is what I'm trained to do. And the sensory test is important because that identifies if there are defects in the olive oil. We don't want a defect. And the most common defect that we have would be oxidation or rancidity. And that has to do with basically old oil. So if you don't know how long your oil's been on the shelf or when it was harvested, which is a key point, then you don't really know how fresh your oil is. And if you're not trained or at least a little bit knowledgeable to know what to expect when you taste it, you could certainly be consuming sub-quality olive oil. And this is what I'm all about. And this is what I am so happy that Hamama is now offering, is that you do have a certified, fresh, most recent harvest, quality extra virgin olive oil. So what happens if it's not extra? It could be downgraded to virgin oil. And then it can be downgraded to worse off, where it's really lampante, which is actually what it sounds like, used for lamp oil. And we don't want to be ingesting that. So knowing your source, knowing that it is qualified as extra virgin, it's been tested for that, and that it's got freshness in its fruitiness, its bitterness, and its pungency is really important to know. So the vinegar,
not this partner, everybody. So I cut you off. The vinegar?
So the vinegar is very different, right? The vinegar is a fermented product. So that means that we've got a process of taking the grapes, we heat the grapes, turn them and boil them for over 24 hours, turn that into a must, gets really, really thick and reduced. And that goes into barrels. And then that goes in with the mother, which is the starts the fermentation process. And then all that fermentation process starts to happen. And then the grape must with the mother reduces in the barrel, and it gets put into a second barrel, smaller barrel with more of this grape must, so on and so on, so that the end product has been aged for a minimum of 3 years and often quite longer. And then this product has more health benefits that have to do with digestion. When we think of fermentation and we think of the gut and the microbiome and all of that, that's where the vinegar comes into place.
I see. Okay, so
lots of information there.
Health benefits. Keep all the info coming. So I've heard that olive oil and like getting your fats from extra virgin olive oil in the Mediterranean diet is what makes that particular diet so, special and healthy. Do you agree with that? Can you list out some of the main benefits of extra virgin olive oil?
Absolutely. I totally agree with the benefits of the Mediterranean diet. And if you look at elderly populations, like the blue zones, right? Where people are living to be long, ripe ages and they're healthy. One of the blue zones is Greece, and in a lot of places in the Mediterranean. And so it kind of distills down to what is their diet. And are they enjoying eating together? The enjoyment of food, which is another part of the whole Hamama process, I believe, is, not to divert too much, but it's so exciting to watch these little microgreens pop up through the quilts, and then you can cut them and actually see what you've grown, and then it actually consume it, right? So there's a lot of joy in that, and that also helps with longevity and happiness, and that it's good for our bodies. So the food. It's very well known that extra virgin olive oil has antioxidants and anti-inflammatories in them. So that spice that you might experience in the back of your throat when you taste it by itself has to do with the phenolic compounds or the polyphenols that we often hear about nowadays that have these antioxidants in them. So some of the benefits of these antioxidants is heart health. That's one of the biggest ones, right? And so it's a good stress reliever, right? If your blood pressure is high, we want to calm it a little bit. We want to, get the stress out, the oxidation out of our body. So an antioxidant such as the ones offered in olive oil is very good. So it's also good for mental health and clarity. There's more research coming out that it could be helpful to prevent or Alzheimer's. So this is something that's coming out as well. It's also great for weight loss. And a lot of people, especially if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, and the non-fat diet era, it's not so true. We need good fats in our diet, right? And a good fat, which has these antioxidants and it has omegas in it, has vitamin K's in it. It also is satiating because it is a fat, right? And if you're satiated, you will eat less food. And you will also want to consume better tasting food, right? And not those empty calories. So again, it circles back to, oh my gosh, we have these wonderful, I love the spicier microgreens, right? And, you put a little bit of olive oil into that and it just takes edges off, but you've got all of this flavor. It's all you really need to have on a salad for so much good flavor. And you're satiating yourself because the olive oil is actually in oil. Another point about the health benefits in the oil, because it's a good fat, but it lowers the negative lipids in the body, the LDLs, and it increases the good lipids, the HDLs. That's another aspect.
Cholesterol, right?
Right, having to do with the cholesterol, exactly. But it also is a conduit for nutrition, so all those phytonutrients. So sometimes they are oil soluble only, not water soluble. So you need a fat to absorb those phytonutrients into your system. So a good fresh extra virgin olive oil can bring in some of those nutrients that we're not even realizing we're not getting, even though we're eating them, because we didn't have a way for our body to absorb it.
Okay, that is crazy because that's what we're about with microgreens here, up in the phytonutrients. So yeah, maybe some increased bioavailability by pairing with your extra virgin olive oil.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is so
tomatoes are one of those too. So if you have some tomatoes in your salad with your microgreens on top, lycopene in tomatoes is only oil soluble. And then if you go back to the Mediterranean diets, like caprese salads, right? Olive oil and vinegar. Greek food, right? My goodness gracious, all those beautiful vegetables and fish. I mean, you could just do a nice little bit of fish, poach it in olive oil, toss some microgreens on it. I think that would be really delicious.
Great.
So, lots of health benefits in the olive oil. And if you, if I may make a note about cooking with olive oil, there's a myth out there that you can't cook with extra virgin olive oil. You can, but there are milder oils and oils that have a lot of flavor. Heat will burn off some of the flavor of the oil, so you might want a milder olive oil to cook with, right? And by all means, cook with it. It's not harmful to your body. You'll just lose a little bit of flavor. And this olive oil that we've chosen for Hamama, you could certainly put in the pan to grill some bread for your toast, or saute your onions for the base of a sauce, or anything else that you're preparing, roasted vegetables. Put it in the pan. We roast our vegetables at 425 all of the time in our extra virgin olive oils, and we're still getting the health benefits of that.
Amazing. Okay, so gonna help you eat veggies across the board. No lie, if you have a single drop of this olive oil, it is so special and fresh. It makes me want to go cook and get my veggies in. So sounds like you're recommending to our Hamama friends, cook with it, use it as a salad dressing. Don't be afraid, go for it. Roasted veggies, go for it. Microgreen salad. I actually just had for lunch a broccoli microgreen salad with some feta, olive oil, chickpeas. Used the two, the olive oil and balsamic as a dressing. Had some leftover greens from my harvest that I dressed as well, and I'm going to use those on sandwiches. Love dressing my greens for a sandwich. It's like a next level up. So these are great tips for how to use your extra virgin olive oil and balsamic for recipes. We'll be coming out with a few too for you. So Janell, a few last questions for you. Can you go back to, you mentioned, you know, the extra virgin ratings and the different types of olive oils you might see at the store. What makes this, you know, really special and something that, you know, shouldn't be on your regular grocery shopping list, you know, like that makes this just so above and beyond that I can taste in the flavor?
So again, I'm going to go back to source. So your customers are going to trust you and Hamama. You guys do an amazing job, right? And you trust me because we've worked together for a long time. And I trust my farmers and this olive oil that is my bestseller in my shop. And I have to say the relationships all along the way are the most important part because we can trust what we have, right? And when you go into a big grocery store, and even if you ask somebody about it, they're not going to know where this came from, when it was harvested, how long it's been sitting on the shelf. They won't be able to tell you about the flavor profiles or the health benefits. So that part right there really sets it apart from grocery store olive oil. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we have these wonderful layers of flavor. So we've got some green grassiness, we've got some nuttiness, we've got some herbaceousness, we've got a little bit of peppery spiciness in there too. And so we've got a lot going on in the olive oil, which again, you might pick a grocery store olive oil and it's flat. It doesn't have any flavor at all. In fact, you didn't even realize that extra virgin olive oil should have flavor.
I would compare this to like having my first strawberry out of a garden.
Right.
A grocery store strawberry, where it's just like, I did not know it could taste like this. Exactly. It's full self somehow.
Yeah. Well, that's what I call my aha moment. So when I had that aha moment with the olive oil, it's like that aha moment with a strawberry out of the garden. I get it. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Really? And you could just eat it like candy instead of a tart, something that, you know, you don't really want to consume too much of because it's just makes you pucker. But no, fresh strawberries out of the garden are like little gems of candy. And so fresh extra virgin olive oil that's quality is going to have a lot of flavor going on in it. And a lot of that spice that you feel in the back of the throat, if you taste it by itself, indicates that you're going to get all these health benefits too that really should be a part of an extra virgin olive oil. And you may or may not know that from the olive oil that you pick on the shelf. Right. I also wanted to say we very thoughtfully created the label for Hamama. And one of the things that we very thoughtfully did was put a harvest date on there. And this is really important when it comes to choosing an extra virgin olive oil. You want to, again, know when it was harvested. Like that fruit that was picked off the tree, you want to know when it was picked off and not that it was sitting on a counter or on some shelf for months and months and months, which always makes me nervous when you could have lettuce that lasts for 3 months in the crisper. What's wrong with that picture, right? So this has got a harvest date. So you know it fresh is best. Think of olive oil as a fresh fruit juice, and the closest to harvest date, the best. We've also included on that label really a shelf life. So olive oil, unlike apples and things, can last up to 18 months for the year. So we have olive oil that has been that's quality, that's been bottled and stored properly. We've got that for the whole year, right? And so we can celebrate having wonderful olive oil all year long. However, once you open a bottle of olive oil, that oxidation process that I mentioned earlier that turns into rancidity begins. And so once you open a bottle of olive oil, you want to consume it within 3 to 4 months, ideally.
Yeah.
So saving those special bottles that you got on a trip to Napa or a trip to Italy or wherever, or because it was your anniversary, and use it only for special occasions, it's kind of sad because you're going to lose it. The flavor is going to go and it's going to oxidize. So it says on our bottle, not only the harvest date, but it says how long it will last for unopened and the suggested time to use it once it's opened. So a good reminder that it is a fresh fruit juice. Use it generously. Try it on everything, right? And then the other thing, it says on the labels how to store it. The enemies of olive oil are, again, air, heat, and light, and of course, time. So store it in your pantry, not on your stove, not in a sunny windowsill, like next to your Hamama greens. We'll have that in separate storage spots.
Hamama seed quilts, which should also be stored in a cool, dry place.
Okay, there.
Pantry. There we go.
That's the perfect pairing, perfect spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So perfect. Thank you so much for all of this incredible information, Janell, and for making this happen. I am so psyched for you guys to try this with your homegrown microgreens. We really hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think. We will, post the link to get these from our first batch in the description below. And Janell, just thank you for everything. We're so happy to be partners, and thanks again for making this happen.
Well, thank you. I am thrilled about this partnership too, and I'm so excited to share our olive oils and vinegars with all your Hamama peeps. It's a super exciting partnership. Love you guys, and to your health.
To your health. Thank you, Hamama friends, for joining us for this special new Hamama product sneak peek. Drop a seedling emoji below in the comments if you love olive oil too. We're really excited about our new extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar that we've sourced with the expert here, Janell of All of This, All of That in San Francisco. Go ahead and order your set now. It's a limited first batch, hamama.com. Get yours now. Make sure to also like this video and subscribe if you haven't already so that you get more notifications like this. Visit us online at hamama.com and connect with our customer happiness team as well at hamama.com/help. We're so thankful to you for growing with us, and enjoy your new olive oil and balsamic. Bye.